The Conservative right wing is ratcheting up the issues and the threats at the moment with the idea that if Rishi Sunak fails to get this Rwanda legislation through Parliament, then the voters will throw the government out. I think that's inevitable anyway. And to turn it round so people think that it's the ERG which is dictating the terms is absurd. Mark Francois has said that 3 strikes and you're out. We failed twice to get the small boat stopped. If this third time fails, then we will be out. The voters will tell us to leave. We had the Nationality and Borders Act 2021, which was meant in part, at least, to address the boats problem. That didn't work. No, of course it didn't, because it was shoddy and scurrilous legislation. And the Rwanda scheme lives up to its name as well. It is a scheme. It is shoddy and scurrilous legislation. And Grant Shapps, nevertheless, the Defence Secretary, has said he has no doubt that the legislation will get through the House of Commons. He then says that it's likely to run into trouble in the House of Lords. Why? Because we don't have a majority in the House of Lords and because the Lords are difficult. I have no doubt that it will get through the House of Commons, but we don't have a majority in the House of Lords. In that chamber, Labour will whip their lords to vote against every single piece of legislation that we have passed in order to stop the small boats. Then they come out and say, you haven't stopped the small boats. Well, you know, both Labour and the Conservatives need to recognise that the only way to deal with the refugee crisis, because there is a crisis with migration, is to go back to the drawing board and examine the primary legislation, which is international, which means an international conference. And any attempt to duck that responsibility, even at the very least to do what Labour is suggesting, which is to get a European consensus, that would be a starting point. But without the rest of, without a sizable number of other countries to act in harmony, the small boats problem is not going to be resolved. And it's as simple as that.